Janine. Thank you, Deborah. That was beautiful. And to everyone in one voice, and especially to Chris O'Neill, our guest guitarist this morning. Thank you. Hi, my name is David Washington. I'm thrilled to be back here again. Got an email from Barbara yesterday. She said have fun, so that's my main intention. It feels good to be on this platform to speak from this high place, perhaps from an elevated state, to speak to you and the world that we share, and to speak to my world. We all live and speak from the center of our worlds, and we're all inviting our world into something through what we speak, through what we say and do. So I'm going to share a little bit of my experience in the last week or two with you, and we'll see where it all goes. My topic is From Glory to Glory. And Nancy called me up, I think it was 2 weeks ago. She said, what's your topic for, Sunday the 3rd? And I thought for a minute and said, From Glory to Glory. I have no idea if what I'm going to speak about has anything to do with that. But okay, so that's one. And the next thing I want to do in terms of having some fun this morning, these are my notes. I have lots of them. And I'm going to give them away. Because the fact of the matter is, most of the time when my world shows up, I don't have any notes to work from. I don't have any notes. And life is calling for something of God's Spirit through me in that moment to deliver, to lift my world up into a better place. And I don't have any notes, so why use them now? And I've never used them anyway. I mean, I have them with me, but more likely than not, most of what's on that piece of paper doesn't get said. So anyway, from glory to glory. I think there's an assumption in our lives, in my life, that you have ups and you have downs, and you go to a mountaintop in an elevated place, and then you go in the valley, and then you go to another mountaintop, and it's this series of undulating experiences. And my question was, is that really true? Am I making this up and deciding to see it that way, or is it really, really true? I don't have a clear-cut answer for you. I do know that things go in cycles. They go through cycles. Whatever happens, happens. Where am I in the midst of all of that is really the question. So good things might look like they're happening. It's good if I say it is. If not, it's whatever I say it is. Good, not good, my choice. It's a point of view. It's a perspective. In terms of the reality of spiritual being, I am, the big I am, is always present. Always present. Am I conscious of that? And when I'm not conscious of that, can I go there? Do I go there? That's the choice. As human beings with free will, created in and from the image of God, the reality of God, free will is always at work. And I can play small, or I can play big. It's a choice. So when things aren't going so well, or don't feel so great, what do I choose to do? Let me tell you about my week. I hope you had a good week. My week was like walking uphill all the way. And sometimes it's like that, and that's okay. And I'll get a little specific. So what happened was I was feeling a lot of fear. As you know, I write music, and that's primarily what I do these days. I work with one voice, and I have my other songs and presentations, what have you. And I needed to make some phone calls, and I could not get these phone calls made. I'm a list maker, so I had a list of things to do for the week, and I got everything done, anything but making these phone calls. I got the house clean, I waxed the car, it was amazing. And it's amazing how, some bright, shiny idea comes along, boop, and I forget all about making the phone calls. It's 5 o'clock in the afternoon, can't do the phone calls. It was interesting And I started getting frustrated, and of course, you know, as a good spiritual student, I'm thinking about, so what is this about? What am I fearing? You know, is it about my music? Is it about my self-worth? All of which is territory I've covered before many, many, many times. The point is, at some point, it doesn't matter anymore. There's a popular advertising slogan that says, just do it. Just do it. It doesn't matter why. It doesn't matter how my mother treated me. It doesn't matter how the kids in school treated me. It just doesn't matter. And it's important that I stop telling myself that same sad story. Because when I tell myself that same sad story, typically what happens is I tell that same sad story to anyone else around me. And in fact, when I'm telling that story, what am I doing? I'm inviting my world to come into this space. Is that really what I want? Is that really the expression of God's fullness in expression through me? I think not. So the place to begin is with the sad story in me. Stop telling the story. I realized one day I wasn't interested in that story anymore. I wasn't interested in hearing it. I wasn't interested in telling it. And I pray to us that we all stop telling that story and lose interest in it. What am I inviting my world into? What am I actually inviting my world into? Because in fact, it's a form of spiritual leadership. It is spiritual leadership to be consciously aware of what we invite our worlds into and to bring the highest and the best in every moment, as well as we can. And in those moments when we can't, to let ourselves off the hook. Let me go back to my experiences this week. So I'm having all this fear thing going on around making these phone calls. And I'm feeling, I was going to say bad, but I want to be specific. I was feeling sad and afraid. And I'm a pretty, sophisticated spiritual being. Why is this a problem? But I'm feeling all this stuff. And I go to center and then I lose it, and I go to center and I lose it. It's okay. I look out the window, the sun is shining, the grass is growing like crazy. My wife still loves me. Yeah. My granddaughter called me up. When I look at the facts don't support all of this stuff I'm feeling. What's up with that? It's all in here. It's all in here. And it's an opportunity, even though I've been there many, many, many times, to take one more layer off of that onion of discontent, that onion of the unreal, the onion of the unreal. Don't cook with it. Just as an aside, it's really interesting doing it without notes. But really, so there's all this fear floating around. One of the things was I knew that I was going to be speaking this morning, and I really wanted to be in that pristine place and hold the space and hear what Spirit wanted to bring. It just wasn't happening. And even this morning, Sue, my wife, asked me, she said, are you feeling ready for this? And I said, I'm not feeling a whole lot of anything. I'm not feeling anxiety. I'm not feeling excitement. I'm not, it's just like, and something in the back of my mind said, when you get ready to deliver, it will be time, boom, and it will land. And that's the way it so often works. So all of this anxiety, all of this fear, all of this concern about what's going to happen next, and how is it going to work out, and where is it going to come from? Might as well just Enjoy the grass growing and cutting it. Enjoy the ones you're with. Deal with what needs to be dealt with. Cut through it and deal with what needs to be dealt with. Spiritual leadership, from glory to glory. So when we align ourselves with the center of being, we are working with the primal causal vibration that brings all of manifestation into creation. Say that again, it was a mouthful. Or something like it. When we work from the core of being, we're working with the primal vibration that brings all of manifestation into creation. It's primal, so subsequently, when we bring that, everything around us begins to vibrate at that station, at that rate, at that vibration. It's called resonance in scientific terms, resonance. That's why when a truly spiritual person shows up, things calm down. Things get right. Things come into harmony, into union with the all that is. A few weeks ago, John Waterhouse on this stage was talking about purpose. I feel like one of my purposes, not one of it, the purpose is to bring that vibration, to bring that presence in this unique way, We each have a unique way, and they're all special. I wasn't sure of all of what I was feeling and why I was feeling it this past week, all the fear. And I realized just this moment that there was a lot of stuff going on in the world this week. I don't watch the news, never watch the local news, but I do watch the weather, so I re-record it. And then I fast forward through all the stuff and get to the weather. It works. But you know, even at 3 times the speed, you still get little flashes of all the stuff. It's just kind of weird, actually. So I had a sense that there was some particularly intense activity going on in our world, in my world. And I'm connected to that world. There's no getting away from it. So I can not watch TV if I want to, but there's no getting away from it. And I imagine I was feeling some of that. Plenty of good reasons to feel fear. And what's the answer? Just do it anyway. Deal with what needs to be dealt with at the physical level, but first and foremost, internally at the spiritual level. Coming back to center. And in some ways, I wouldn't take no for an answer. So all of the things that I do to self-medicate, I stopped doing for the week, in part because I was getting ready to speak. And while you're thinking about all the things David does to self-medicate, let me say, just okay, are you thinking the best? Thank you. Overeating, not sleeping well, not exercising, and other things. To do what I needed to do to bring back the center. Because by doing that, through my actions, I'm calling my world back to center. We are calling our worlds back to center. It's not mine at this point in life to get out and run around in the streets or make political actions or statements, sign petitions. Not my thing. Been there, done that. I know there's some racial stuff going on in the world. I did mine in the 60s. My parents, with my family, including me, moved into an all-white neighborhood on Long Island. I did my time at that range of things. It's fine. But what I can do is invite our worlds up into a higher place. Let me say a little bit more about this higher place, because in many ways we're just getting started. I noticed in one of our songs we changed the word what's the song? From thousands to millions, right? And that's true. Millions of people are becoming aware of themselves as divine identity and form. And that's wonderful. But let me tell you, folks, as far as I'm concerned, we've barely gotten off the end of the runway, and maybe the wheels are coming up on this little airplane. What's possible for humanity as a whole is way bigger than anything we can possibly imagine. No, it's way bigger than all that we can imagine. I don't want to put a limitation on our imagination. In terms of bringing life, in terms of bringing the fullness of life, in terms of going from glory to glory, we ain't seen nothing yet. So we've learned addition, we've learned subtraction, spiritually speaking. There's still algebra, there's still trigonometry, follow my metaphor. There's still integral calculus. It's a big universe out there, and I'm a little amused at myself and my friends when we say the universe sent me this, and the universe it's a big place. I was watching a video on the Hubble telescope. It's a telescope floating around and orbiting the Earth, and they looked at a point in space that was really small, about this big, maybe smaller, and they kept just drilling into it and drilling into it. And they kept seeing more and more galaxies and more galaxies. It's just overwhelming how large the universe actually is. It's eye-opening to even consider how large we actually are. It's good to go there. Good to go there. So then when my little kerfuffle around picking up the telephone comes up, there's a frame of reference for that. The universe. Making that telephone call. I mean, really. Just do it. To go from glory to glory means meeting what needs to be met in the moment. Part of that had to do, in my experience this week, with letting the spiritual energy build. I initiated a program in One Voice, a musical group here, around writing sing-alongs. And I invited everyone in One Voice who wanted to write a sing-along and send it to me, and we would put them all together and do something with them, maybe teach them to you and start doing them. It would be great fun. So I've been having fun doing that as well, and I've written 8 sing-alongs in 6 weeks, so I'm having a good old time. The thing about sing-alongs is they're simple, they have principles of truth clearly stated, and they're repetitive. So I'm writing these things, and I have these principles of truth. I see my world, and all of it is perfect. And this is going through my mind over and over. I'm looking for rhymes and meter and harmonies and what have you. But it's building spiritual energy in me. So there's this big, it felt like conflict going on. On one hand, I have this spiritual conversation going on. And on the other hand, I have this fear about making these silly phone calls. But it's all energy just bound up together. Going back to my pillow, so to speak, going back to my meditation practices, making sure I get clear in the evening before I go to sleep, certainly when I get up in the morning. By the end of the week, I did make the phone calls, and I sent some emails and got some lovely replies back. Did I expect anything else? It was great. But there was energy in there so that when I made the action, when I spoke the words, so to speak, it had power, it had intensity, and a vibrational frequency to it that was aligned with the core of being. We're all unique, but I'm not special in that way. We can each do this in our own way. Discover what it is that we need to do, what methods best work for us. Not everyone is a list maker. Not everyone is so organized and disciplined that they will work in these particular ways. That's my thing. I'm a Virgo. What can I say? That's my story, which I'm giving up. But really, I'm going to go back to the story thing for a minute. When I look at all the stories, I tell myself, oh, I'm a Virgo. And very proud of it, you know? Yeah, I like it neat. Part of the process of going down the runway of life and lifting off and getting the wheels up is in being able to laugh at our own selves. I get up in the morning very often, Sue is already up and she set up the coffee. And I think the coffee pot should be sitting over just a touch. It's gotta be right. She doesn't know I do this, but I know I do it. I do it every day. But she never gets it right. I should tell her. I just did. But then I laugh at myself. You silly bird. The coffee does taste better, but that's not really the point. I just heard I'm going to make it myself from now. Careful what you try and fix. So the path from glory to glory is full of joy if we let it be so, even in the midst of the uncomfortable work of spiritual emergence. It's not always comfortable. It seems to go through cycles. And it's my discomfort that moves me into a greater sense of expression. Whatever that discomfort is, whether I heard Barbara say this and I really got it or heard it for the first time in a new way, the things I want are good. I'm dissatisfied with something, I want something more, it moves me into another space. Let it be that way because I said so, for me. It's good to be together in this way, to speak to our worlds, to speak to ourselves, to let this particular gathering of spiritual beings be a magnified aperture into the world, into the consciousness of humanity. There are many, many people still, sadly, who aren't happy in the midst of what's going on, whose discomfort is driving them to, or creating an experience, or inviting them into an experience of discontent, and it doesn't feel like there's a way out. But I know there's a way out. I've proved it this week, I've proved it in the weeks before. You know there's a way out, a way through, a way up. So I'm so happy to be here this morning and to share this, to just be myself. Who else would I be? Feels good to take a moment of silence after all that. So it is.